But hey guys, I'm Henry Meyer. This is my second time on a panel, and I've been associated with DayAway since I think my junior year in college. Mike put on a talk at Duke where I went, and it was exclusively for engineers. I wasn't an engineer. I was interested. I wanted to go. And sorry, Mike, can you mute yours? There's an echo coming from your room. That's a little bit distracting, just a little. All right, perfect. Yeah, now I can think while I talk. But yeah, I basically snuck in as an economics major and was really happy to have done that. I was sitting in the same seats that you guys are, and I heard a bunch of people talk about companies that I had never heard of, had no idea what they did, really was kind of coming onto the scene very fresh. And in fact, talking to one of the people who I met at a DayAway summit like this is what led me to my first job out of college. So don't be shy when it comes to these things. Be really proactive and be your own advocate, because you guys are going to be the ones faced with finding a job and paying for an apartment and keeping all the other things you want in your life and I think a great way to do it is through renewable energy. There's a lot out there, and I was lucky to have kind of picked that as the industry I wanted to work in very early. I had worked for the Cape Wind project in high school. I'd worked for a private equity firm that, when I was there, I specialized in, energy-related deals, pipelines, oil and gas, things like that. And then coming out of college, I worked for Enernoc, which is a grid management firm that, the simplest way I can describe it is they wait for blackouts and they sell power to the grid when blackouts happen. But they don't make any energy. They're not a producer. Instead, they have contracts in place with big energy users where they can turn off the power going to, say, a steel mill or a plastic factory and reroute that to the grid and sell it at a huge price difference, where the plastic factory is buying it at 12, 15 cents a kilowatt, and the price during a blackout goes up to $9,000. So that company really opened my eyes to how the energy industry is kind of like the Wild West, where things all happen immediately. Energy is consumed in the flash of a second, and all these companies are trying to price it and put it on the grid and make sure it gets there, and it's definitely an interesting space the more you learn about it. What I'm doing now is I'm working for Navigant Consulting, and the firm that I'm at, I'm in their energy practice, and they're split between a handful of different groups, from kind of emerging technologies in the space to setting rules for efficiency standards. If you've heard of, Energy Star, that's these guys. It's the guy sitting right there. And my group specifically is R&D management. So we work with organizations that have big R&D portfolios, and we try and look at them all as discrete investments. Pick your best ones and why. And what our group does is we sit in a room. There's 4 other guys on my team. We sit in a room and we listen to presentations from the heads of all the research groups. They give about a 20-minute pitch. We ask them some questions. We take notes, write down things we find important about them, and we come back to them in a couple weeks and say, hey, here's your winners, here's your losers. And what's interesting about that is that you get to see a whole lot. And if there's one thing I can say about consulting in general, is that you will get perspective on a whole lot of stuff. And I really enjoy just being around it. The risk I ran at I guess this gets into one of the questions that you guys have written, but one of the risks you run in energy is pigeonholing yourself, getting stuck working on a technology that's going nowhere. And the beauty of consulting is the fact that that'll never happen to you, because you're always working on different things. You're always going to be switching your projects, switching your engagements, and really keeping an eye on what's out there and what's the most attractive. So that's it for me. If you guys have questions, let me know when my turn is up. But thanks.
Thanks.